Chat, the most viral
Final flight of Richard Russell. Richard Russell was a 28-year-old ground service agent for Horizon Air. He loaded bags and guided planes at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. On August 10, 2018, Russell had access to aircraft on the tarmac as part of his normal duties. He had no pilot training. That evening, at 7:33, he climbed into an empty Bombardier Q400 turboprop. The plane was a 76-seat aircraft capable of flying over 360 miles per hour. Russell started the engines. Within minutes, he was taxiing without authorization. Air traffic controllers tried to make contact, confused by what was happening. The plane accelerated down the
It's turning behind spoon, bro.
runway and lifted off. Russell was alone in the aircraft, flying over Puget Sound with no plan and no experience. His voice came through on the radio frequency. He sounded casual, almost cheerful, as he spoke with controllers. He joked about his lack of skills, about doing a barrel roll, about not wanting to hurt anyone. Military F-15 jets were scrambled to intercept. People on the ground looked up and saw the plane moving erratically through the sky. Some filmed on their phones. The aircraft twisted and dove, pulling maneuvers that stunned aviation experts. Russell continued talking on the...
Hold up, bro. Hold up, chat. Like, this spoon's so small. I don't know why I got this spoon, man. Making me mad.
radio.
Okay.
He said he was a
Now we got
broken
this
guy with a
spoon,
few
chat.
screws loose. He said he wasn't really planning on landing. The flight lasted
spoon
1 hour and
just
13
made me
minutes.
mad, bro.
Near the
Like-
end, Russell successfully executed a barrel roll, recovering approximately 10 feet above the water. Then the plane descended sharply toward Ketron Island. It was moving at high speed when it struck the trees and exploded on impact. The wreckage scattered across the wooded terrain. The force tore the aircraft apart instantly. Fire consumed what remained. Russell's body was found
my
in the debris.
God.
He did not survive the crash. Emergency responders confirmed his death at the scene. The FBI later determined the crash was intentional. Dashcam video of Laquan McDonald. Laquan McDonald was 17 years old. On October 20th, 2014, police in Chicago responded to reports of someone breaking into vehicles. McDonald was walking down the middle of Pulaski Road carrying a knife. Multiple squad cars arrived. Officers followed him in their vehicles as he moved down the street. One officer exited his patrol car within seconds of arriving on the scene. The official police report stated that McDonald raised the knife in an aggressive manner and moved toward
Why?
officers. It claimed he posed an immediate threat. The report described actions consistent with department protocol for use of lethal force. For over a year, this version remained the accepted account of what happened that night. Then a judge ordered the release of dashcam footage. The video showed something different. McDonald was not moving toward officers. He was walking away from them, parallel to the line of vehicles. The knife was visible in his right hand. The officer who exited his car raised his weapon and opened fire 6 seconds after exiting his vehicle. McDonald spun and fell to the pavement. The shooting did not stop. The officer continued firing. McDonald's body jerked with each impact. He was on the ground, motionless, and the shots kept coming. 16 rounds were discharged in total.
Like, come on, bro. The kid is dead and you steady shooting, bro? What is wrong with people, though?
The firing lasted approximately 15 seconds. Most of the bullets struck McDonald after he had already collapsed. Medical examiners later confirmed that several wounds came from shots fired into his back, and that at least one wound indicated he was on the ground when struck. McDonald was pronounced dead at the hospital. The autopsy revealed bullet wounds to his back, scalp, neck, chest, both arms, right leg, and right hand. The officer was charged with first-degree murder. In 2018, he was convicted of second-degree murder and 16 counts
Man.
of aggravated battery. He was sentenced to 6 years and 9 months in prison.
6 years, chat? Are we being serious? 6 years? This dude just killed a child, bro.
Killing of Harambe. On May 28, 2016, a 3-year-old boy climbed through a barrier at the Cincinnati Zoo. Witnesses reported hearing the child say he wanted to enter the gorilla enclosure. He climbed a 3-foot fence, crawled through 4 feet of bushes, and fell 15 feet
Where is the parents
into
at?
the moat below. The water was shallow. The child landed hard and began crying. Within moments, a 17-year-old Western lowland silverback named Harambe approached. Harambe weighed 440 pounds. He had lived at the zoo since September 2014. Visitors lined the barrier above, many filming on their phones. Others began screaming. The noise echoed through the enclosure. Zoo officials immediately called for all 3 gorillas to return inside. 2 females complied, but Harambe did not. He climbed down to investigate the child splashing in the water. Harambe grabbed the boy by the ankle and dragged him through the moat. He carried the child from one end to the other, occasionally propping him up when he sat or pushing him down when he stood. Zoo officials faced an immediate decision. The Dangerous Animal Response Team was notified. They watched Harambe's behavior closely. The gorilla became increasingly agitated and disoriented by the crowd noise. He exhibited strutting behavior, walking with legs and arms stiffly extended. He stood over the child, dragged him again, and examined his clothes. Tranquilizers were considered but rejected. A dart would take several minutes to work, and in that time, an agitated gorilla could kill the boy instantly. The drug might also further aggravate Harambe. 10 minutes passed. The child remained in the enclosure, still alive, but in danger.
Are we being serious? Y'all can't just get a gun and shoot the goddamn monkey?
The decision was made. A single rifle shot was fired. The bullet struck Harambe in the head. He collapsed immediately into the moat. His body went still. The boy was between Harambe's legs when the shot was fired. Zoo personnel entered the enclosure and retrieved the child, who survived with minor injuries. Harambe died instantly from the gunshot wound. The video footage spread rapidly online. Millions watched the incident unfold. Debate erupted over whether the shooting was necessary. Zoo officials maintained that the child's life was in imminent danger. Harambe's body was removed from the enclosure that same day. Arrest and death. George Floyd was 46 years old. On May 25, 2020, he was arrested in Minneapolis, Minnesota. A store clerk had reported that Floyd used a counterfeit $20 bill. Police arrived and located Floyd sitting in a vehicle nearby. Officers ordered him out. He complied but appeared distressed. He was handcuffed and walked to a police vehicle. What happened next was filmed by a 17-year-old girl named Darnella Frazier. She had been walking with her 9-year-old cousin to Cup Foods when she saw the arrest. She sent her cousin into the store and began recording with her phone. The footage showed Floyd on the ground, face down on the pavement. His hands were cuffed behind his back. Officer Derek Chauvin knelt on his neck. Floyd's cheek was pressed against the asphalt. Floyd began speaking. He said he couldn't breathe. He repeated it multiple times. Bystanders gathered, some filming, others shouting at the officers to check his pulse. Floyd called out for his mother. His voice grew weaker. He said he couldn't breathe again. Chauvin did not remove his knee.
Stuff like this just piss me off. Like, you know the kid cannot breathe and you're sitting on his neck. Like you don't deserve to be no cop.
3 other officers were present at the scene. Officer Tu Thao stood nearby, preventing bystanders from intervening. Minutes passed. Floyd's words became less frequent. He continued to say he couldn't breathe, but his voice was fading. Then he went silent. His body stopped moving. Bystanders shouted that he was unresponsive. Chauvin's knee remained on his neck. The pressure continued even as Floyd lay motionless on the street. 9 minutes and 29 seconds passed from the time Chauvin's knee made contact with Floyd's neck to when it was finally removed. Paramedics arrived and checked for a pulse. Floyd was loaded into an ambulance and taken to the hospital. He was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. The official autopsy ruled his death a homicide, caused by cardiopulmonary arrest, complicating law enforcement subdual, restraint, and neck compression. Chauvin was charged with second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. He was convicted on all 3 counts and sentenced to 22.5 years in prison. Murder of Jun Lin. Jun Lin was a 33-year-old international student from China. He studied computer engineering at Concordia University in Montreal, Canada. In May of 2012, he met Luca Magnotta, a 29-year-old man who worked as a porn actor. On May 24th, Lin went to Magnotta's apartment. He did not leave alive. Magnotta filmed what happened inside that apartment. He titled the video, "One Lunatic, One Ice Pick," and uploaded it to the internet. The footage showed Lin tied to a bed frame. He was stabbed repeatedly with a screwdriver that had been painted.
Okay, bro. I swear to gosh, bro. Like, this is, like, what? You tie bro up on a bed, you stab him, and
painted silver to resemble an ice pick, and with a kitchen knife. The video was over 10 minutes long. It documented the entire act in deliberate detail. Surveillance cameras captured the last images of Lynn alive on the night of May 24th, showing him and Magnota entering the apartment building together. Lynn sent a final text message to a friend at 9 p.m. that evening. His boss reported him missing when he failed to show up for work the next day. By then, the video had already been posted online. The video continued after Lynn stopped moving. Magnota proceeded to dismember the body. He used kitchen tools. The footage showed him separating limbs from the torso and performing acts of necrophilia.
What is actually wrong with people, bro?
Lynn's hands and feet were mailed to political offices and elementary schools across Canada. His torso was found in a suitcase behind Magnota's apartment building. His head was discovered in Angrignon Park weeks later on July 1st.
God, his head.
Magnota fled to Europe. He flew to Paris on May 26th, then traveled by bus to Berlin. An international manhunt ended with his arrest in Berlin, Germany, on June 4th. He was found at an internet cafe reading news stories about himself. He was extradited to Canada, charged with first-degree murder, and convicted in 2014 after a jury rejected his defense of mental illness. He was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years. 3 Guys, 1 Hammer video. In the summer of 2007, 2 teenagers in Dnipropetrovsk, Ukraine, began attacking people at random. Viktor Sayenko and Igor Supruniuk were both 19 years old. They targeted victims in isolated areas, primarily at night. Over 3 weeks, from June 25th to July 16th, they were responsible for 21 deaths.
Oh my gosh, 21 deaths? Are we being serious?
Recorded multiple attacks on a mobile phone. One victim was Sergei Yatsenko, a 48-year-old man. On July 12th, he was traveling on his bicycle when he was ambushed on a wooded path. Sayenko and Supruniuk struck him and knocked him to the ground. The video began recording after Yatsenko was already on the ground. He was lying on his back, unable to move. His face was visible. He was alive and conscious. The footage showed Supruniuk holding a hammer concealed in a yellow plastic bag. He struck Yatsenko repeatedly in the face. The sounds were captured clearly on the recording. Yatsenko made groaning noises with each impact. His breathing was labored but audible. Supruniuk used a screwdriver, stabbing it into Yatsenko's eyes and abdomen. The attack continued for over 4 minutes. According to sources describing the video, Yatsenko's movements gradually decreased and he appeared to lapse in and out of consciousness throughout the assault. Both teenagers were arrested on July 23, 2007. They were tried as adults and convicted of multiple counts of murder. Sayenko was convicted of 18 murders and sentenced to life in prison. Supruniuk was convicted of 21 murders and also received a life sentence.
Wait, hold up. So, like, if he combines the 18 to 21, hold on. Okay, this is crazy, bro. Hold up. So, 18 plus 21, 39 murders combined. That's actually sad. Like,
the Supreme Court of Ukraine upheld these sentences in November 2009. The video was leaked to an American shock site on December 4, 2008, and spread widely despite efforts to remove it. Beheading of Nick Berg. Nick Berg was a 26-year-old American contractor. He traveled to Iraq in 2004 to seek work in telecommunications. On April 9th, he was last seen in Baghdad. For weeks, his family received no information about his whereabouts. Then, on May 11th, a video appeared on an Islamic militant website. It was titled Abu Musab al-Zarqawi Slaughters an American. The footage opened with Berg sitting in a chair. He wore an orange jumpsuit. He identified himself on camera. The video then showed him on the floor with 5 masked men around him. One of them read a statement in Arabic for several minutes. Berg remained motionless during this time. When the statement ended, the men moved closer. Berg was forced onto his side. What followed was captured on the approximately 5.5-minute video. The video showed one of the men using a knife to sever Berg's head. The severed head was eventually held up to the camera. The video ended shortly after. It spread rapidly online before authorities could remove it. Medical research on decapitation indicates that loss of consciousness occurs within seconds after the carotid arteries are severed. Studies on laboratory animals have found that brain activity associated with consciousness ceases approximately 3 to 4 seconds after decapitation, though electrical activity in the brain can persist longer. The research suggests a rapid drop in blood pressure causes swift loss of awareness, though the exact experience cannot be determined from animal studies alone. The man who read the statement was later identified as Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, a militant leader. He was killed in a U.S. airstrike in 2006. Berg's case raised
Oh my
questions about his
god, dude.
detention before his
People are
disappearance.
just
He had been
crazy,
held in live
dude.
stream.
Oh my
On March
god.
15th, 2019, a gunman drove to the Al Noor Mosque in Christchurch, New Zealand. It was Friday afternoon, the time for Jumu'ah prayer. Dozens of worshippers were inside. The attacker wore a helmet-mounted camera and began live streaming to Facebook. The video showed everything from his perspective. It lasted 17 minutes. He entered the mosque, carrying multiple firearms. The footage showed people kneeling in rows, facing forward in prayer. They were unaware of his presence. He raised his weapon and opened fire. The first victims fell immediately.
Dang.
Others turned and saw what was happening. Some tried to run. Others crawled toward exits or pressed themselves against walls. He moved methodically through the prayer hall, firing at close range. Not everyone died instantly. Gunshot wounds to the torso or limbs do not always cause immediate death. The body can remain conscious for minutes if the heart continues beating and the brain receives oxygen. The video captured people on the ground, wounded, attempting to move. The attacker walked through the mosque a second time. He fired again at those who were still alive. Some had been trying to crawl toward doorways. Others lay motionless, but were shot again to ensure death. One man, Naeem Rashid, rushed at the gunman in an attempt to stop him. He was shot multiple times and collapsed. His son, Talha Rashid, was also killed in the attack. A 71-year-old man named Haji Daoud Nabi greeted the attacker with the words, "Hello, brother," before being shot. Muchad Ibrahim, a 3-year-old boy, became separated from his father and brother during the chaos and was killed. In total, 44 people were killed at Al Noor Mosque. The attacker then drove to Linwood Islamic Center and killed 7 more people, bringing the total to 51 dead. He was arrested 18 minutes after the first emergency call. On August 27, 2020, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. If you want to...
Are we... This dude just killed 51 people. And he had life of... Alright, bro. Alright, chat. Just... Bro, like... This right